love things that you're good at, right? So you keep working harder and harder and doing what you love and finding people around you that want to achieve the same goals. It's hard to have early success with a new team. It doesn't matter if you have one new person or more than that. Going through pregnancy and curling and then being pregnant again and not having that break to recover properly. It's kind of trial and error, and I've definitely learned a lot along the way.
Rachel, thank you very much for taking the time. I guess let's start from the beginning and your early successes going all the way back to, I guess, what got you into curling? How did curling get into your life?
I think just through family. So my great-grandfather and grandfather both curled while they were in the Air Force. Just curling clubs kind of on the basis for things for them to do, and just kind of continued through my family that everyone curled, and I just kept on curling.
What was your home life like when you were growing up?
Both my parents were really supportive of curling, and obviously there was a lot of travel with that. You're almost traveling every weekend, even at a young age, whether it's within the Ottawa area or we'd have to go to Toronto a lot. Yeah, lots of karting around.
I don't know you know this, but back in the early 2000s, I'd heard about this Rachel Homan person and this young phenom coming up. So going back to U16, you won 4 straight provincials from 03 to 06, and back then, nobody had ever won 2 in a row. And you won 4 in a row. Then you won the U18s, the Canada Winter Games in 07, the Canadian Juniors. I guess looking back at it, did you know that there's something special going on? How did you look at it as a kid, like that kind of success?
Yeah, you're just kind of doing what you love and finding people around you that want to kind of achieve the same goals. And I guess you don't really think about it when you're in it. It's just you're having fun and you're having success and you love things that you're good at, right? So you keep working harder and harder. And we had a great coach, Earl Morris. He taught us a lot of basics and fundamentals, and back then I think kind of his expertise helped guide us, and there's no way I knew what I was doing as a skip. I think we got by on a little bit of skill and talent, and we had a lot of early success. We didn't think anything of it. It was pretty fun when we were playing and beating Jennifer Jones and people like that, like people that had so much success, and it's like, oh, like maybe we are good enough, you know, to keep going. And some pretty cool experiences really early on in our career.
How good is that?
Beautiful shot.
A lot of discussion about the dynamic of this team at the start of the season. Rachel Homan and her team have looked as good as they ever have.
Let's get into your current team a little bit. To be honest, I didn't see this much success this quick. I really didn't. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I
It's just
agree
been
with
incredible.
you. Yeah, I think what you say is accurate. It's hard to have early success with a new team, and it doesn't matter if you have one new person or more than that. It's challenging. I think it just speaks to the talent on the team of just individual players being able to make shots, and it's really fun, like playing with 3 other amazing athletes that share the same goals. And I think still understanding that family is really important to everyone on the team, and that we're having that balance. Prioritizing other things other than curling is maybe what's put us all in such a good headspace.
So let's get into the family a little bit. So you got Ryan and then
Bowen, yeah.
I guess the change when you become a top athlete as a mother, as a mom, like
Yeah.
And having the little ones at home and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge transition and obviously a life change. I think looking back on it, going through pregnancy and curling and then recovering and then being pregnant again and not having that break to recover properly or even really know how to recover properly. Like, it's kind of trial and error, and I've definitely learned a lot along the way. But I have so much support. My husband's an amazing dad and really holds down the fort when I'm gone, and I have full confidence in being able to focus on curling while I'm away. Without that support, I think this would be a lot more challenging than it is.
I want to talk a little bit about the bubble in Calgary, because you
hectic.
hectic. You made headlines all over the world. The Scotties was in February, and Bowen was born in March. So you played till the end of February. What day was she born?
She was born on the 25th.
Of March.
It was basically 9 months pregnant. Looking back, I would never have wanted to sit the Scotties. You know, like that opportunity, you don't know when your last Scotties is. Obviously, if I couldn't, they would understand that. It wasn't pressure from my team whatsoever. I think the most challenging part actually was because of COVID, all of the rinks shut down for like 3 months. So like as I was getting bigger and like my body was changing the most, I wasn't able to curl. My husband actually built a rink in our backyard so that I could see if I could slide because it had been so long. He did a great job. It was not even.
I think I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah,
You say
he
it was
put a lot of
awesome.
hours in there, and so I was able to slide and actually hurt myself sliding because like your muscles are not used to it. Kind of like tweaked a little bit of hip flexors and things like that. And finally, I think in end of January, I think we only had 2 weeks of training.
Not on your husband's ice, but on...
No, on real like club ice. And so we were training there for 2 weeks, but like I was just in a lot of pain. Obviously we came up a little bit short, but I had lots of physio and that when I was there. So I was able to manage that as best I could.
Olympics 2022. You go with John Morris to mixed doubles. You sent out a very powerful tweet on February 15th. You were in the deepest of dark holes.
I think COVID had a lot to do with it. That year we did the trials for 4-person team. So we had to isolate for that. Training, and then we had provincials around the corner, so we had to isolate for that. I flew home to see my family at Christmas, called our national coaches because they didn't know provincials had been canceled at this point, but mixed doubles trials had not been canceled at this point, and they didn't know what was happening. And I said, can I see my family? And they said, I would recommend not. So again, isolating through Christmas, not seeing anybody, and then not knowing like what to train for. Am I training for 4-person or am I training for mixed doubles? And I knew that my name was in the running for mixed doubles. And then getting the phone call and saying, you have to leave your family for 3 weeks in isolation and go train, which amazing opportunity, like so thankful for it. But again, just like leaving my 1-year-old and 2-year-old, 2-year-old at the time, to then go and do that and being removed from them again, and then traveling to another world, like going to Beijing. It was like an apocalypse. Like everyone was head to toe and like taped around the wrists and ankles so that like nothing could possibly be spread between people, not knowing if you're going to test positive, like the stress of that as well. John and I had 2 weeks to get ready for the Olympics, and everyone going there had been training for years together with their partner. Coming up literally half a centimeter short of qualifying. Yeah, absolutely. That was really hard to take, I think, just with everything. So like coming home and then still being alone, right? It's still COVID, you're not traveling, you're not seeing anybody. I felt like I took that on all myself. And you know what, I think the biggest thing I thought of was like, you know what, I'm probably not the only one feeling these emotions. Like whether it's like the Olympic letdown or everything else that was involved. If someone else is kind of struggling and they see someone like at the top level feeling very similar emotions, obviously different situations, that maybe somebody else would, you know, it would help somebody else.
Did you get some good support
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
from outside the curling circle? Anybody who'd been through it?
Everywhere, everyone. Yeah, from kind of all different parts of life. And I was just in a really, really bad place, like mentally. And seeing other people as well go through that and reaching out and telling me their story. And it was really helpful for me, which I didn't expect that to be. It was great to be able to talk about it and not, you know, hide real emotion. And yeah, being vulnerable, I think, is really powerful and important to do. So yeah, I felt like it was important for me to share.
Going forward to 2026, and the efforts and the plans to try to get to another Olympic Games.
Yeah, yeah.
Italy, be beautiful.
I love Italy. It's an amazing place. I was fortunate to be able to travel there quite a few years ago, and I would absolutely love to go back. Being fortunate enough to go to the Olympics twice is hard to believe, really, and I feel so fortunate to be able to do that, and would love to bring back a medal for Canada.
Thank you very much. Rachel.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.